Love fails when communication dies. Love did not disappear between Sarah and Ayan all at once. It faded the way light leaves a room at sunset, slowly, quietly, almost politely. There was no single moment they could point to and say, "This is where we lost each other." Instead, there were small pauses in conversation, half-finished sentences, unread messages, and emotions swallowed before they ever reached the surface. What once felt effortless began to feel heavy, and neither of them knew how to say it out loud. They met in a season when talking felt like breathing. Long conversations spilled into the night, words tumbling over each other without effort. They spoke about childhood memories, fears they had never confessed to anyone, dreams that felt too fragile to name. Silence between them was comfortable then, a shared quiet, not an empty one. Communication wasn't something they worked at. It simply existed, natural and alive. But time has a way of changing the language of love. Responsibilities grew heavier, expectations sharper. Ayan became quieter, carrying the weight of work and unspoken pressure on his shoulders. Sarah noticed it first. The way his replies shortened, the way his eyes drifted elsewhere when she spoke. She wanted to ask what was wrong, but fear held her back. What if he didn't want to talk? What if her questions pushed him further away? So she chose silence, believing patience was love. She told herself he just needed time. That real love meant understanding without words. But understanding without communication is only imagination, and imagination often turns hope into doubt. Each day she guessed what he felt, and each guess hurt a little more than the last. Ayan, on the other hand, believed he was protecting her. He thought staying quiet would keep his worries from becoming her burden. He didn't realize that his silence was heavier than any truth could have been. He assumed she understood him the way she used to, forgetting that even the deepest connection needs words to survive. Love without expression slowly begins to feel like neglect. Small misunderstandings grew into invisible walls. A delayed reply felt like indifference. A tired tone sounded like annoyance. They stopped clarifying and started assuming. When Sarah felt hurt, she smiled instead of speaking. When Ayan felt misunderstood, he withdrew instead of explaining. Each unsaid word stacked between them like bricks, building distance neither of them acknowledged. They still said, "I love you," but the words had lost their warmth. They became habits, not confessions. Conversations turned practical. Bills, schedules, routines. The emotional language they once shared slowly disappeared, replaced by politeness. They lived together, laughed sometimes, but no longer met each other in conversation. The first real crack appeared during an argument that wasn't really about anything important. It was about something small, forgotten plans, a missed call. But underneath it was months of silence screaming to be heard. Sarah finally spoke, her voice shaking, but the words came out tangled with frustration. Ayan listened, but instead of hearing pain, he heard accusation. He responded defensively, guarding himself with logic instead of empathy. That night, they slept on opposite sides of the bed, inches apart yet emotionally miles away. Neither of them said what truly needed to be said. "I feel lonely with you." Those words stayed locked inside, too vulnerable too dangerous to release. Days turned into weeks. The house felt quieter, not peaceful, but hollow. Sarah started writing messages she never sent. Ayan rehearsed conversations in his head that never happened. Both of them waited for the other to break the silence, not realizing that love does not survive on waiting. It survives on speaking. When the end finally came, it was gentle and devastating. There was no shouting, no dramatic exit, just an honest exhaustion. They sat across from each other, eyes tired, hearts heavy. For the first time in a long while, they tried to talk, but they were too late. The language they once shared felt foreign now. "I think we lost each other," Sarah whispered. Ayan nodded, tears in his eyes. "I think we stopped talking before we stopped loving." That was the truth that hurt the most. Love was still there, buried under silence, but love alone was not enough. Without communication, love becomes a memory instead of a living thing. They walked away carrying the same regret. Not that they didn't love enough, but that they didn't speak enough. They learned too late that love needs words, the way fire needs air. Without them, it doesn't explode, it simply fades. And so their story became a quiet lesson, written in absence. Love fails not because feelings disappear, but because communication does.